can do a little Q&A.
You want to do a Q&A?
Yeah.
Okay.
If they want to.
If they want to. You want to do some questions and answers?
Ready for some questions and answers? Yeah or no, please? Okay. Who has a question?
Nobody.
You can say, ask in Danish and we'll just translate. Ladies first, okay?
Hi. Hi, and thank you very much. My question is, my husband and me are also Adult Child Anonymous, and in our relationship we can have it like this. If I say I have a need for this on this, he can hear that as I'm not doing it proper or good enough, and so on. And the state I'm in just now is just to say it out loud and see if you have anything to say to that. Thank you.
I'm sure Dave will have that too, because what happens is when you have, I'm speaking to this from my children's point of view, because my children are very damaged because they are the child of an alcoholic and have been through a lot of abuse and a lot of put down from me. Okay, so consequently, when their wives are critical of them in any way, they go back to that feeling of what mom did. And Dave comes from that. And what I would do, I could see if I were to say something to him that it would just destroy him. So what I did with some help from my sponsor and from a therapist is I learned to frame it in a different way. And I would start by saying, Dave, I'm not criticizing you, but we need to be honest with each other, and I need to let you know how I'm feeling about this. So in other words, you're not wrong. And if you change, it's okay. If you don't, it's okay. I just need to tell you how I feel. And what happens is, and as I said earlier, Dave is more sensitive than me. I do not come from that kind of abuse. I was a very loved child. His is very different. So what happens is I forget sometimes about that. And so what I do is I try, if I get too out there like that, it becomes a critical hurt to him. So I just, I'll sit down and I'll say, I need to talk to you about something. Please don't take this personal. This is just how I feel. And if I'll take that one extra moment to do that, he seems to be able, instead of putting up a wall to me and not hearing what I have to say, he'll stop and listen to me.
That's a very good answer.
Yeah, so you can ask, he can comment on that, because I'm usually the one who is doing that more, because he's the one who has suffered so much damage.
Just a couple of things that I'd like to add to that. One is that facts and feelings are not the same thing. Feelings are not facts. And if I aspire to a really good relationship with my wife, if I have grown enough to where I believe that I can have a really good relationship with my wife and with other people, then I have to change. And change is not going to be anything that I'm going to necessarily enjoy. So if you have to say it to me, I have to get used to hearing it. The problem is not how you feel. The problem is how I respond. The problem is with me. And I need to I've told people this, you need to toughen up. Nobody's after you. Nobody's trying to hurt you. And I have to apply that to me. Nobody's trying to hurt me. I just need to be able, because if I tell you that you have to spend the rest of your life tiptoeing around, being very careful of my precious feelings, what the hell can we ever do? What kind of relationship can we have? So, you have to be as considerate and as kind and as courteous as you can, but you have to say what you have to say. And if the other partner has a little trouble with it at first, they'll get used to it. They need to get used to it. It's to their benefit to get used to it. It is to their benefit to deal more and more with the truth than with some imaginary fantasy that they've concocted in their head. Polly told me one time it was one of the most honest things she ever said, and at the time it was tough to hear, but I'm so glad she said it. And I was whining about something, who knows what. And, she said, "Dave, you are the most important person in my life, but you are not the only person in my life."
Okay, we have a question on here, but before that question, just please hold your cups. We don't have any more cups, so if you don't want to drink coffee or water out of the... Oh, we have cups. But please hold your cups, because then we can use it for something else.
You said earlier that to receive something you have to give. I mean, you give and then you receive. But how do you make the distinction between what's people-pleasing and what's codependency and what's really truly giving? Do you have an answer to that?
Yeah, I consider back in the earlier days of my sobriety, especially the very early days, I consider the fact that I was an extreme people pleaser to be one of my very best assets, because I did a lot of things just to please people that I might not have done otherwise. I worked a lot of steps to make my sponsor happy, to keep him off my ass. And it is unavoidable because of the kinds of societies that we live in today, that some of the things we're going to be doing are people-pleasing. People require it of us that we're not necessarily in any kind of relationship with, people at work and so forth. So the thing is, should I respond in a way that is people-pleasing, or should I just get angry and explode? And I prefer to be people-pleasing. Even though that I know I'm not necessarily sincere right at this moment, it seems to be a better choice under the circumstances, but I need to do something about this. I need to learn how to handle relationships better so that I don't have to be a people-pleaser, but that I can respond appropriately. But I think one of my strongest assets that I had when I was new was I was a people pleaser. Really stood me in good stead. I acted a lot better than I would have otherwise.
One of the things that when I see my codependency is when I try to get other people to change and do what I want them to do so I'll feel better. And when I do that, I know I'm being codependent. And it's just like, it's very painful, especially right now. I'm watching my oldest son go through a separation and a possible divorce and a lot of stuff. And I don't want to see that happening to him, because when that's uncomfortable for me. It's uncomfortable for me to watch my children hurt. And for me to get in there and to try to offer advice and to try to fix it, to me, that's when I'm codependent. But to be kind and considerate and that's just being kind and considerate. And I know sometime, I remember when I first came into Al-Anon, I'm going to say a curse word. When I first came into Al-Anon, there was my Al-Anon sponsor told me, she says, "Polly, there is a thin line between release with love and I don't give a shit." So, very thin.
Hi, thanks so much for the wonderful speak. My husband and I, we thought about having like a weekly or monthly meeting, like treat it like a fellowship. We're both in the program. And I thought that, what do you need? What do you stand right now? How are you? Maybe it could be beneficial when we have kids someday, that they feel like they can participate in our family. I had an experience that my opinion was not very important in my family, and maybe it was a great way to have a family, like have a monthly or a weekly meeting. What's your thought about that?
I think that's great. My Al-Anon sponsor and her husband used to have a meeting, and that meant everybody got to talk without being interrupted. You know how we do at a meeting? We don't crosstalk. So they used to do that. And Dave and I have certainly had those. We don't have them structured like monthly or weekly or what have you, but sometimes we just need to sit down and you let me talk and don't interrupt. Don't offer anything back. Just let me have my say. And he's real good at it. I usually am, you know, because I've always got something to say. Okay.
Hi, thank you for being here. Love on one hand and respect on the other. I found out the hard way that I loved my wife and I loved my children, but I was not able to respect them. Mm-hmm. And it was a hard lesson. I had been sober for 10 years before I discovered that that was the case. I just, if you have anything to say on that subject or the difference, because what I discovered that the whole time I had been working the program, I was not able to respect myself, and therefore I could not respect them.
That's the answer right there. You just answered it yourself. Because the book says that we cannot give that which we don't have. And one of the things that today, I know that God loves me. And that's where that relationship, the relationship with God, to know that God loves me and that I need to treat his kids really good. And I always remember that. And the hardest thing that I had to learn in Alcoholics Anonymous was to listen and not think what I hear, but make sure that I heard it the way you said it. And if I'm not sure, ask, did I hear this correctly? And I know that because respect is really important. And especially with children, I don't know. I know it's important for me. I need for Dave to respect me as a woman and respect my opinion, even though I may not like the same things he does. I still need to be respected, and I think we all need that. So, but I think you answered it yourself.
I think we teach people how to treat us. So if I do not feel like I'm respectable, then I don't make other people respect me. I think we teach people how they are to treat us. And this may be something that, that you didn't mean to be teaching anybody. But you did. And now, but you can't abandon the progress you're making with your own life, and go back to who you used to be, just to try to achieve some kind of peace or something, because you're never going to achieve it. You've seen what you've seen. It has changed you. And so you have to slowly and painfully teach the people you taught one way. You got to teach them a different way now. I know, that's tough, but I don't know what else to do. It's like I have a saying that I have said to people on more than one occasion, and I have encouraged other people, and I haven't especially encouraged young women to say this. And what I say to me is, I don't treat me that way, and neither can you.
Hello, my name is Jane. I'm an alcoholic. I want to say thank you to both of you for a wonderful speak and inspiration for me today. I would like to hear if you have something to say when one of my big problems still is when I get hurt. And if I get hurt by other people or I hurt other people nearby me, silence is used as a very bad weapon. Silence to back off and not have contact for several months, several weeks. Do you have any experience about this weapon called silence? Because I've heard a lot about anger, but what about the weapon silence?
I think that is anger. So that's it, and it is a way to hurt. It will hurt because silent scorn is a very hurtful thing, and one of the things the only thing I can say about that is that's a character defect, and we need to work with the sponsor, and we need to be willing to have it removed in step 6, and we need to be asking God to remove it. And when it's hard, because what happens is to speak up means I need to lay down my ego and be willing to go to that person. And that's hard to do, because the hardest thing we have, especially if we're shy or get hurt easily, is to lay down that ego, because that's that protection. And all I can do is encourage you to work a 6 and 7 on it and to talk to your sponsor.
But let me tell you, even though it may be that hard to do, to lay down your ego or to put that aside, it may be hard to do. If you will somehow manage to do it, the first time you do it, it will be a son of a gun to do it. The next time it will be a little easier, and you will get to the point where you will feel kind and loving toward people because you change your assumptions. Okay, you approach them with love and kindness and say, I don't want there, with the attitude that you don't want there to be negative anger between you two, and you'd like to know what you can do to heal the situation. So you can even expect to look forward to doing that. Once you get used to it, at first you're not going to like it. You're not going to like it a lot. But you will get very comfortable. I don't mind now talking to just about anybody about just about anything, because I don't go in trying to achieve some end. I don't go in with the idea that I'm going to change their mind about me. I go in with the idea that, let's see if we can't work this out. Do something so we'll both feel good.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank you both. I'm very grateful for I've been here for these 2 days. I'm also grateful that I'm alive, because I was married to a man who turned out to be a violent man. And I've been in long-lasting relationships before and never experienced anything like what I experienced with him. And now the thing is, we are divorced. We got divorced 2 years ago. But what I'm afraid of now is to become intimate with a new man in my life, because that is what I want for my life. I don't want to be living alone for the rest of my life. But what he did, I don't know. What he did, all together, that pushed something else. It opened up for the things that I've experienced in my childhood, which I didn't know so much about. But when this thing happened, it just came like a bomb. And now it's something that I really, really suffer from, and I'm really scared. And I'm also afraid that I will never experience love again.
Any advice?
Well, I think I work with a lot of women who have had this particular thing. And one of the things that I know, or I believe with all my heart, is the steps heal. The steps heal. And I just highly encourage you to get an Al-Anon sponsor and start working the steps. Also, once you work the steps, a lot of people put the cart before the horse. And that is, they go to therapy before they work the steps. And if we work the steps first and we get all the information from the steps so that we can see where we're at fault and where we've made mistakes, then when we go to therapy, we look at it with different eyes. And I just highly encourage, I don't know if that's the situation with you, but I highly encourage that, because the steps are healing, therapy's healing, but I don't know of anything for me personally that is more healing than the steps in the programs of AA and Al-Anon. I don't know of anything that's more healing. Because most people have, either through our own making or otherwise, have a lot of abuse in our life.
The only thing I would say to that, and perhaps that I feel even qualified to say to that, is that I sense in your question that what you're asking is, at deep down, is how can I keep that from happening to me again? And the answer is, you can't. Who can predict the future? So what the only thing you can do is, I kind of believe that people tend to attract what they are. There's many things in the world that I don't understand. I know a very, very neat young lady who likes bad boys. And they just, in one way or another, emotionally or some way, just beat the hell out of her and throw her under the bus, and she'll go out and find another bad boy, and it'll happen again. And her attitude is sort of like, well, nice guys are boring. Well, then you just get thrown under the bus once in a while. What can I tell you? So there is no way to foretell the future. There is no way to guarantee a result on anything. And the only thing you can do is make sure that you are the very best person you can be, and that you are not going to knowingly ever let anybody like that in your life again. And I don't know if you can do that. When your heart gets involved, man, sometimes you don't have as much to say about it as you'd like. It's just, there you are.
Okay, you've been on it for very long. Thank you for your endurance or...
Endurance, that's it. There you go.